Hello YouTubers, today I thought I would share with you a very good budget option if you're interested in starting to get into the long-range shooting sport. I decided to do that middle of last year, and so I did some research and I bought myself a Ruger American Predator in 6.5 Creedmoor for $650, and it came with a Vortex II Crossfire scope with scope rings. It's a 4x12 by 44 millimeter objective lens scope. It's got good clarity. Anyway, it's a very good budget buy for all of that, $650 plus tax. A couple of things that I've done to it. I've just added a very inexpensive pad for the butt stock, and I've added a Beartooth Products cheek riser. It's just a neoprene sleeve with some foam inserts that you can adjust a little higher or lower. This was about $15, $18. This was about $8. You don't really need the butt pad here, but I like it. I also added a CV Life bipod, which is adjustable for cant, which works out really nice if you're on some of those uneven benches or prone on uneven ground. And I just recently added, haven't tested it yet, a BG6 Epsilon muzzle brake. This rifle doesn't have a terrible amount of kick, but I liked having the butt pad for some extra cushioning, even though it did affect the length of pull just a little bit, not enough to affect my shooting. But when I was shooting, I noticed that I would have to do some significant adjustments to get the scope back on target, and so that's the reason why I decided I would try the VG6 Epsilon. I have that on my that same muzzle brake on my AR-15, and it works great. So for the price point of about $50, I thought it would be a good muzzle brake to try on this. I haven't shot it on it yet with that, but even without it, just $12 for the bipod, which is actually works pretty well, and the cheek riser adjustment sleeve and pad here, I can shoot sub MOA at 300 yards. I know for the experts 300 yards is nothing, but for me getting into long range shooting, had never shot at that range before. For me to be able to consistently shoot less than a 3-inch group at 300 yards, to me is an achievement in learning. And I've had to learn about how to properly use a scope, mount it, use it, how to get the right cheek weld, a consistent cheek weld, and ensure that my eye is also in the optical center, lined up with the scope, and also at the proper relief. The scope is very clear. It works very well out at 300 yards, 300 meters. It holds the settings very well. I've used it to adjust for dope, and mechanically, the adjustments are right on where they should be. If you need to adjust for a bullet drop, you just dial it in MOA, and and also for wind, and it's pretty accurate. So for $650, I actually can't. I don't think, I haven't seen a 6.5 Creedmoor that you can buy for $650 that is as consistent as this, shoots consistently well, and only needs a couple of small minor things to make it fit, at least for me, just right, so I could learn proper technique, body mechanics, and proper shooting with this caliber in this kind of a setup. So for me, I think it's a really good option, is my opinion, and so I offer it to you as a consideration because it's very inexpensive, shoots very well, and it didn't break the budget. I didn't go into the $1,500, $2,000 range to get into a 6.5 Creedmoor that would shoot less than 1 MOA. I guess there's other rifles that will do that, that you can buy that are not very expensive. But this came with a scope, and the scope is actually pretty good. As I get out further in distance and range, out to the 600 yards, beyond 600 yards, I'll probably need to upgrade the scope, is what I'm thinking. But I'm going to try it first before I invest. I've always been budget-minded to see what I can do with the equipment that I have, and I think this equipment will, this setup will carry me pretty far. So very, very good buy in my opinion. I don't think I'm glad I didn't buy the Ruger Precision at $1,400 and then have all that money sunk into it when I can shoot just as well at the 300-yard range here as they can with this setup and just about any ammunition. It shoots better with ammunition that has a higher bullet weight, so in the 140 grain range, but it still shoots sub-MOA with lighter bullets. I think I initially was shooting Hornady match ELD, 143 grain, I think, match bullets through this, and was getting very good groups, but I found at 300 yards, I didn't need to use those really expensive rounds, factory rounds. I could shoot just as well at 300 yards. I think as you get further out, obviously the more expensive match rounds like Hornady and Sierra Match King, they're going to make a difference because they have a better ballistic coefficient. They'll stabilize probably for a longer distance than what I'm shooting right now. But at 300 yards, I found the ammunition does not make that much of a difference in this rifle with this setup, which makes it a very, very good way to train at a beginner level, which is where I'm at for long-range target shooting. So very happy with this purchase. If you're a beginner, this is one good recommendation. I'm sure there's others, but this is one that I've used and it works well. That's all I've got.